One of the biggest reasons most people don't get started on their content creator journey is the excuse of not having the best gear or the best location to do all their filming. And I'm going to bust that myth for you real quick in this video, because I film and edit my videos sometimes using nothing but my mobile phone. Like my last video on the channel was shot and edited completely using my mobile phone. Now, so at the time of this recording has just under 300 views. Now I know that's not a million, but then that takes away your excuse of not getting started. And if you look at my shorts, pretty much my shorts are entirely shot and edited using my mobile, and my shorts in the last 30 days have gotten me over 40,000 views and maybe 100 or so subscribers. So definitely you can get started creating content using your mobile phone, and in this video I'll show you exactly how I do it, how I film, edit, create my thumbnails and post using nothing but my mobile. The very first thing you want to think about when you want to start creating content for your YouTube channel is a great location to shoot. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a massive studio. In my case, I have a small room that doubles not just as my main office, but also as a dumping ground for my wife's boxes for her cake business. So yes, it is very busy. Everywhere else around here is busy except for this little corner where I do my filming. And that's what you want to do. Just find a place that can serve that purpose. Give yourself some depth, some distance to the background so that it's not all clogged up if possible. But even if you can't do that, just ensure it's as clean as possible. If you have aesthetics things that you could put in there, dump them in. Otherwise, keep it clean, keep it simple, and just get started. Another thing you want to be mindful of is lighting. So where possible, you want to take advantage of natural light. So maybe set up near a window where you're facing a window and take advantage of it. I can't do that because, again, I kind of work full time. So most times I edit and shoot my videos in the middle of the night. So I make advantage of these two lights that help simulate the semblance of natural light. So if you can't afford to do that yet, I mean, these are professional lights. However, you could always start out with a ring light or take advantage of natural light if you can. Once you've figured out the best place to shoot for you and you've sorted out the idea of light, the very next thing is to figure out your audio, because trust me, the viewing experience on YouTube is massively improved when you have great audio. And most content creators will tell you when the audio is bad, people just kind of tune out. So you can get away with poor audio on shorts, but if you're doing long form video, you definitely want to work on that audio and make it as good as you can. I'd recommend investing in a clip-on mic, which you can grab for about $20 off Amazon if you're using your phone to record. I know that most phones have decent audio quality today, but it's still not going to be the same as having a professional mic that helps enhance the quality of your audio. And just a quick side note, your first few videos, you're probably going to hate the way you sound and not like the way you look, but you have to get past that phase if you're going to become a full-time content creator. So just be comfortable to not necessarily like what it is you see, but you will get better at it and it will get easier. So trust me on that. That's my 30 seconds of motivation. Let's get back into the video, shall we? Next thing we want to look at once you've been able to shoot your video is to talk about how you edit it using your mobile. I'm a big fan of InShot, so that's what I'll be using for this tutorial. Now, it will be a very basic overview of some of the basic functions of InShot. If you guys want me to do a thorough video on how I actually edit using InShot, be sure to drop a comment and I would be more than happy to dive into that deeper. But let's jump into it, shall we? So the very first thing you want to do is import your clip into InShot. What you do next is essentially cut out all the ums and the cuts and all the bits and pieces of it that nobody gets to see on YouTube. So another tool which I think you'll find very useful within InShot is the pip, which basically allows you to add B-roll to your footage. So for instance, when I was talking about the lights I use, all you do is hit pip and you can go to that footage from within your library. And once you get that in like this, you simply have to scale it using that tool. And yeah, you have something like that. And then you can simply crop that as you want it. And that's pretty much it. So what you then have is a case where it plays and then goes to the B-roll. So basically, once you've done all the cutting and editing to what you want, I think the only other important thing to note is that you probably want to use filter, where you can adjust the color settings on your video. Now, if you're not familiar with all the tools, you don't have to. There's a beautiful addition that they now have, which is basically an auto function. And if you hit the auto function, you get that. So that's essentially what that does. If you use this, I'd recommend maybe turning down that auto filter slightly to somewhere there. just to reduce it. So yeah, depending. Just use your discretion, whatever works for you, really. And once that is done, the way you add, if you want to add background music to it, all you need to do is also hit the music function, and you can just simply go to music. Now, InShot has a music library. I don't use it because they may not be copyright free. So you can simply download the music you want from YouTube and import it into InShot. And then from within your InShot library, you simply select a relevant video. That's loud. And then you can adjust the volume on that one. Like I said, guys, this is a very basic introduction of how you can use InShot to edit. Now, if you want a full tutorial on how that is done, definitely hit me up and I'll be happy to create a full-length tutorial on that. But yeah, that's it. You add your music, you adjust the settings to what works for you, and once you get that, you can pretty much hit your export option, and usually I recommend exporting in 4K. I shoot in 4K using my iPhone, so you could do the same thing, export in 4K for the best quality, and that's pretty much it done with your video. Now that you're done with editing your video, the next thing you want to do is work on your thumbnail. Now, sometimes I actually edit this before I even film the video, but then whatever works for you. The important thing is to get the thumbnail done, and for that we jump into Canva. Once you're in Canva, simply select the YouTube thumbnail, which is perfect because it already gives you the dimensions that you need. And I would usually start with a blank canvas because in this case as well, it depends on what you're creating. In this case, for this video, I already took a few pictures before starting to shoot, so I'll just import that picture, one of the pictures I took. Let's see, where do we get you? Uploads, do I have that there? Yeah, brilliant. So I'll just import one of the pictures that I had shot, and we'll set that to background. Set that as background, and there already we've got this. Now, of course, this video was shot in portrait mode on my phone, so it already gives me that bit of the bouquet in the background. But then, of course, for YouTube, you want the image to pop even more, so you want to put more focus on the image. There's a beautiful resource that Canva's got, which allows you edit the foreground and the background separately, so it's an excellent tool. And I want to scale this up slightly just so we crop up the sides of this. So I'll go with that image, just scale that slightly. Yeah, a bit off my head there, but yeah, I think I like how that looks. And what I want to do then is simply go to adjust, and now this gives me that option to do that. So now we can either edit the whole image or edit the foreground and the background separately. I'll start with the background just so we can kind of make that a little more blurry. Alright, so we basically play around with that temperature. So I think I want it to be slightly cooler, so we put more focus on me. Generally, I won't touch the tint, the brightness slightly, contrast, yes, give me some contrast there, highlights. Just play with the dials till you find what works for you. Alright, and then yep, vibrance, give me some vibrant colors down there, saturation very slight, sharpness, no, make it that, clarity. So all of that blurs out my background. Now we can switch this to the foreground and pretty much repeat the same process. But for this one, for my foreground, I want this to pop a little more, so give me more color there on the foreground. And so essentially just play with the dials till you find, you know, the sweet spot for what you want. Okay, make that image a lot brighter so that pops away from the background. It just gives you that differentiation from the background. Yep, and yeah, pretty much that's it. For me, this looks just good. And then you want to add text, and that's pretty simple. You just find a font that works for you. And pretty much that's what this would look like when it's done. And when it's done, and if that works, then yeah, pretty much we've got ourselves a decent thumbnail we can use. All that's left now is to jump into the YouTube app and get your video uploaded. You don't have to be perfect to get started, but you have to get started to get perfect. Alright, and there's probably never really anything like perfection. We all just get better every day, so just make that commitment to get better, and trust me, it will eventually pay off in the end. Alright, if you've loved watching this video, please be sure to show some love, subscribe to the channel, give it a like so that the great YouTube algorithm can serve it to more people. And of course, if this has inspired you in any way, do drop a comment for me as well. I'd love to read and respond to every single one of them. If you want me to highlight any part of the video, be sure to let me know. I'll be happy to do that. And until the next video, guys, stay inspired.